What if I told you this streetwear designer who made the Forbes 30 under 30 list only had $17 to his name on all of his accounts? Kerby Jean-Raymond, a first-generation Haitian American from Brooklyn, always had a thing for fashion. As a kid, he was sketching designs and dreaming big. Fast forward to 2013, and at just 26, Kerby launched Pyer Moss, but the journey wasn't a walk in the park. From the get-go, Kerby had to tackle some serious hurdles. The biggest one, money, relying on his own savings and crucially leveraging credit. This wasn't just about making ends meet. It was about strategically using what he had turned to his vision into reality. And trust me, that's a struggle many of you watching can relate to. Here's where it gets interesting. He used his own savings to get his first brand off the ground. The brand was called GAUD, spelled G-A-U-D. And with his Fidelity account he had from his 401k, he managed to get 80 grand by over-accolating it. He cashed out the money and said he was going to start the brand, but of course, being young, he blew most of the money, traveling with his bro to places like Hawaii and Amsterdam. With the little remainder of the money left, he took an investor for the brand GAUD. With this brand, he was given 30 grand for 27% of the business. Also promised was a $250,000 line of credit to cover production. However, the connect that was supposed to plug him in directly to the factories lied to him. This led to challenge number 2, which was the logistical nightmares he encountered. Kerby had to figure out everything from sourcing materials to finding manufacturers who would work with a small, unknown brand because the connect didn't really know what he was doing. And let's not forget about the cutthroat competition in New York fashion scene. It's like trying to make your voice heard in a room full of people shouting just to one up and show you out.
Imagine this. Imagine you having to go to Barney's, asking the sales associate where Lanvin, where Margiela was made.
Right.
That's what I was doing. After like a long ass couple of days of knocking on door to door for factory to factory and getting kicked out of one, I run into this guy named Mustafa. He heard me asking them for a factory. And he was like, I have a factory.
You're literally walking door to door trying to find factories. Like,
oh, for sure.
Knock.
But I still do that shit to this day. When you know, production is a nightmare. So like a lot of times we have to go to door to door. You know, there's no shortcuts in this shit, bro.
Yeah.
Some people have it easier than others. I definitely was not one of those people that was gifted with any type of ease.
Eventually, he found a manufacturer who produced 3 camo jackets for him. Kerby gave one of the jackets to his publicist, and his publicist gave it to Mel Ottenberg, who eventually gave the jacket to Rihanna. And on January 28 of 2013, Rihanna was photographed with his jacket leaving her studio. This is where his name started to create buzz on the streets, and he had to come up with a brand name for his company. GAUD wasn't going to work due to it being controversial, so he chose Pyer Moss, the name reminiscent of his mom. But trying to go with the flow and play by the traditional fashion industry rules, he got burnt. The deal he took on from the investor, in which he promised to give him 250 grand, fell out. They had orders from the brand they needed to fulfill because of the marketing they just received from Rihanna, of course, and when it came time to do the production, the investor said he couldn't give him $250,000. They ended up parting ways, but what he failed to realize was in the contract there was no stipulation of $250,000. And on top of that, the investor also sued him for continuation, meaning everything he made after that, the investor will still receive a profit out of it. Let's just say taking out that loan was a complete nightmare. Now I know what you're probably thinking. This is absolutely the worst case scenario. Every situation will not be like this, especially for me. I'm smarter, Lee. I won't get finessed like how he did. I'm telling you, I'm good. Here's where Kerby's story takes a turn. After one investor did not work, Kerby found another. A couple who agreed to invest $250,000 into Pyer Moss. Sounds like a win, right? But here's the catch. The deal was first in, first out, meaning these investors were getting their cut of profits before Kerby saw a dime.
Did not understand the business and underfunded it. They, $250K in cash and kind. This is the worst deal you could do. Because what's the cash? Cash probably like 50, 50, 100. And then they had a first in, first out. So as money came in, they were taking paying it immediately. So they paid themselves back multiple times.
It's like a bad record deal.
Right.
And it didn't stop there. They locked him into a deal that forced him to make a tough choice. When Kerby landed north of a $300,000 gig working for Usher's tour, he had to use nearly all of it to buy himself out of that crippling contract. The result? He walked away with just $17 left in his bank account. You heard that right. $17. This is the kind of story that shows just how tough it can be to navigate the world of any startup. But it also shows Kerby's resilience, and that's where the real lesson lies. How can you make waves in an industry dominated by big names and even bigger budgets? Kerby's answer is be bold, be different, and don't be afraid to ruffle some feathers.
Was it ever a traditional fashion brand where you followed seasons and got wholesale accounts and like did trade shows? It was that.
And it was a complete failure.
Okay.
It was completely trash.
Right.
I did everything that I thought I was supposed to do.
Right, that you're supposed to do, right, as a fashion brand.
Think about the time when I was coming out, right? So it's 2013. Get the celebrities in your joint, make the celebrities sit front row.
Do the runway show, yeah.
Do the runway show, follow the calendar, get Barneys.
Yeah.
None of that worked for me. None of that worked for me, man, and rightfully so.
Let's talk about this so-called formula. In the fashion world, there's this formula that everyone seems to swear by, which is get investors, push wholesale, secure department stores, lock in retail deals, and to top it all off with celebrity endorsements. It's a blueprint that's been established by those who came before, and it's one that many brands have followed. Some successfully, others not so much. But here's the thing, while some brands adapted and thrived, others had to pivot, and many more simply faded away. It's a pattern we see across all industries. But now in 2024, we have to ask, does this formula still hold up? Is it really the best path forward in today's landscape, or is it time to rethink what building a brand really means?
And keep showing the world that fashion is not just pretty clothes, you know what I mean? It could be a story, it could be.
From the get-go, Kerby wasn't interested in following trends. He wanted to set them. His collection were a mix of streetwear aesthetics and high fashion sensibilities, but with a twist. Each piece told a story, often highlighting aspects of Black culture and history that had been overlooked or ignored by the mainstream fashion world. For example, in one of his early collections, Kerby featured a shirt with the names of unarmed Black victims of police violence. It was a bold move that got people talking, and that's exactly what Kerby wanted, to use fashion as a platform for important conversations. But innovative designs is only half the battle. I mean, you've got to get people to notice you, right? And when you're working with a small budget, that's easier said than done. There is only one thing Kerby could have done, and that was to get creative with his marketing. Instead of splashing out on expensive ad campaigns, Pyer Moss relied heavily on guerrilla marketing tactics. A direct example was them staging a fashion show in unexpected places. Like that time they took over a street out here in Brooklyn around the Flatbush area. They basically turned it into a runway. It was edgy, it was different, and most importantly, it got people's attention with models, some of whom were cast through Instagram, making their way down the runway against the backdrop of Pyer's choir drenched in blood. In every brand, there was always one thing that comes to mind, and that is identity. What does your brand stand for? My understanding of how fashion has moved beyond what is seen to be a nice outfit is to the narrative and meaning behind the clothes, which can also fall into content creation as well. Appreciate how lighting, styling, and the atmosphere of an image can alter the message conveyed to an audience, as well as how different audiences may interpret the same image differently depending on their demographics and psychographics. What makes Kerby brand unique? For Pyer Moss, the answer to these questions were crystal clear from day one. Kerby didn't just want to create another streetwear brand. He wanted to create a platform for telling stories about the Black experience in America. And being from from New York City, a melting pot of cultures and ideals, played a huge role in shaping this vision. Every Pyer Moss collection is deeply rooted in cultural commentary. Take the American All Soul series, for example. Over 3 seasons, Kerby explored different aspects of black culture that have been erased or overlooked in the narrative of American history.
We'll just stop the music. We'll just put the lights.
From the contributions of black cowboys to the story of Sister Rosetta Tharpe, the godmother of rock and roll, each collection was like a history lesson wrapped into high fashion. In a world of fast fashion and fleeting trends, Pyer Moss stood for something, and that something was powerful enough to turn customers into die-hard fans. This approach to branding wasn't just refreshing, it was revolutionary. In an industry that often treats diversity as a trend, Pyer Moss was unapologetically political and unapologetically authentic. People loved it. From everyday streetwear enthusiasts to celebrities and influencers, the message just struck a chord. The brand wasn't just selling clothes, it was selling a vision of what fashion could be, which was a tool for change and a platform for underrepresented voices, which will also fall into a celebration of culture. Pyer Moss didn't have the budget for massive ad campaigns. They didn't really need it. The brand's bold designs and even bolder messages were newsworthy on their own. Fashion journalists couldn't get enough of this new brand that was shaking things up. But Kerby didn't just sit back and wait for the press to come to him. He was proactive, reaching out to journalists, inviting them to shows, giving interviews where he spoke candidly about his vision for Pyer Moss and the issue he cared about. And here's a pro tip that I'm pretty sure a lot of people know. Controversy sells. When Kerby uses runway shows to make political statements, it got people talking. And when people talk, the media listens. Before long, Pyer Moss was featured in major fashion publications from Vogue to GQ. Kerby was smart about influencers as well. But perhaps the most genius move was how Pyer Moss approached fashion shows and events. These weren't just showcases for clothes, they were experiences. Take the spring 2020 show at King's Theater in Brooklyn. These type of events generate massive buzz. They were Instagram gold, giving attendees plenty to post about and creating fear of missing out for those who weren't there. And you better believe that fear of missing out translated into more eyes on Pyer Moss's next move. So what can we learn from Kerby Jean-Raymond's journey with Pyer Moss? Authenticity is your superpower. The brand succeeded because it stayed true to Kerby's vision and values. In a world of copycats, being genuine can just simply set you apart. Use your limitations as fuel for creativity. The brand didn't have a big budget, obviously because they was paying investors, so they got creative with marketing and shows. Your brand is more than your product. Pyer Moss isn't just selling clothes, it's selling ideals, stories, and vision for change. You just gotta think and just sit down and ask yourself, what bigger purpose can your brand serve? Also, be strategic with partnerships. Choose collaborators and influencers who align with your brand values. Create experiences, not just products. Pyer Moss's fashion shows, again, were events people wanted to be a part of. How can you turn your product or service into an actual experience? And it doesn't have to be physical either. It can be digital through social media channels. You have your Instagram, you have your YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Discord. How can you apply these lessons to your own hustle? Define your brand's purpose. What do you stand for beyond making money? Write it down and let it guide your decisions. Get creative with marketing as well. Can't afford big ad campaigns? Think social media marketing. Why not start a YouTube channel specifically for your brand? How about you try to stage unexpected events that get people to talk? Also, you need to tell your story. It's proven people connect with stories more than they do with actual products. Build a community from these social media platforms as well. Engage with your audience. Respond to every comment. Stop trying to be Hollywood. Create spaces online or offline for your customers to connect with each other as well. It doesn't always have to involve you. Collaborate strategically. Look for partners who share your values and can help amplify your message. Remember, it's quality over quantity. You don't want to be stuck like how Kerby was. The lesson here, success in any industry isn't just about having the best product or the biggest budget. It's about having a clear message, a unique voice, and the courage to use the message and the voice. So what do you think? Could you apply some of Pyer Moss's strategies to your own hustle? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you found this video helpful, the algorithm is telling you that you might find this one helpful next. Alright y'all, this is Lee from No Studios. So next time I'm out of here.